You never know if the toe you step on today is going to be connected to the ass you have to kiss tomorrow. That's solid advice.
Yeah. When Perry Belcher talks success, he means big success. Scaling marketing. There's no greater mind in the world on marketing than Perry Belcher. What are the secrets or keys to scaling marketing today?
I think it's the easiest part because it's a zero-sum game.
Right.
Either you have an offer that works or you have an offer that doesn't.
The simplicity of how he helps you and me understand how to succeed at marketing will blow your socks off. Perry Belcher is the man, and he's going to teach you and me more about success. All right, Perry, what's your definition of success?
Being able to do whatever the hell I want to do whenever the hell I want to do it.
How did I know that?
That's it. That's really it. At this point in life, I don't have monetary goals anymore. I don't have any of those things. I got enough money now. I just want to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Yeah. It's pretty basic and not very exciting, but
I heard someone else add to that, with the people I want to as well. Because sometimes, success is about not having to be around the wrong people.
Yeah, and I found as I get a little older, right, I get a little gray in my hair. Not as much as you, but
yes,
a little bit. I'm just messing with you. But as I get a little gray in my hair, I realize that most of the things I really want don't cost that much money anyway. Yeah. The money is more of a security blanket, in case of emergencies, break the glass. But I mean, you've seen lately, I'm baking bread and I'm gardening and I'm, making cheese at home.
Yeah, I know. You sent me a $2,000 price point for a piece of Perry bread. So let's go back then. Young Perry.
Yeah.
What was young Perry's definition of success? And before you sold the businesses and made all the money, what was success along the way and how did it progress?
Man, young Perry's a freak. I grew up in a housing project.
Yeah.
My whole family, I think I was maybe one of the first people in my family to graduate from high school.
Yeah.
And I didn't really graduate from high school right away. I dropped out of high school 2 weeks before graduation, pissed off at my principal, and then I ended up going back and getting evicted. But, I just came from very humble beginnings, and most of the people in my family are still right there doing that same thing. And that what plucked me out of that, I don't know. But I just always had this burning desire in my gut to do something different. And I talked to somebody recently, and it kind of hit me. They really asked me a pointed question.
Hey, just a quick one. When I look in the back end of this, something that's quite surprising to me, I noticed that it says that 82% of you who watch the channel regularly haven't hit the subscribe button yet. So, one favor, click that button. If you've watched this show before and enjoyed it, just please click that button to subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and make sure you're part of it. Because as the show gets better, your success gets better.
When was the moment that you think that really sunk to you?
Yeah.
And I told a story. My mom and I were living in this housing project, and one morning she got up to go to work. She worked in a nursing home as a nurse's aide. Literally, the French here, the shittiest job in the world. Bleep it out if you want to. But she had changed bedpans for a living. Yeah. I mean, it was an awful job, and just trying to put a roof over our head and feed us. And one morning I'm in bed and she leaves to go out for work, and I hear this scream, and I'm terrified. And the car was probably, where we parked the car was probably 500 feet from the house. I heard it from my bedroom that far away. And I went out and walked to her, and she was sitting on the curb and she just had her head down in her hands. Someone stole the battery off of her car, and she didn't have the money to buy another battery, and she just lost it for maybe 5 minutes. And she walked 3 miles to work that day. And she walked to work every day until the next paycheck where you buy a battery for the car. And I decided that day, I think I was 13 years old. I was 13. I was actually 13 because I lied to get a job saying I was 14. I got a job that day. I got a job bussing tables at Mr. J's Pancake House that day. And I'll never forget, I got a paycheck about 10 days later for $72 or something. And I went and bought $72 worth of groceries and brought them home. And it was the proudest moment, probably still today, of my whole life. But I think that day, I declared war on poverty.
Yeah.
I never really wanted to be rich. I was just damn sure I didn't want to be poor.
What is the Perry formula for success now? Like, what are your principles that lead to success?
It's changed a lot.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot. I started off in retail, then I went to manufacturing, then I went online, and then I went into education. And, so I've had like 3 or 4 seasons of my career. Today is all about finding the right partners.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about finding the right partners, building a business that is, that has longevity to it, that is definitely exitable. Because all the money that I have today, I didn't earn any of it. It all came as I spent that money. The money I earned, I know you live a pretty hot lifestyle. The money you earn, you tend to spend it, right? But when you exit, I call it Chinese money. It's a one rump of sum. You get, you get that big lump sum of money, and for whatever reason, you feel a responsibility to the money. Yeah. That sounds crazy to people who haven't had an exit, but you're like, man, if I screw this up, I'm going to feel so stupid. So like every single dime I've ever earned from an exit is parked in investments. I've never spent a penny of it. So it just continues to multiply in passive investments. And then I live on my ordinary income and try to continue to put some back. But you tend not to put a lot back. Maybe you do. You're different than me.
You talk about capitalization. When you exit, it's a capital event. Mm-hmm. And the key to real wealth is capital events. There's no two ways around that.
Taxation tells you the other way, at a minimum.
When you're earning money, it's hard to put some away in most cases because people keep spending up to their earning capacity type thing. If you look at your 5 top things, though, that you preach and teach for success, take us through those.
They're really kind of corny sayings, but they're things I've learned over my life that I kind of rules I live by more than anything else. Number 1, just because you can doesn't mean you should. 2,
saying no to things is important.
Yeah, and if I can get over on you and make an extra $1,000, it doesn't mean I should. Just because somebody comes to you and they really want to work with you or whatever, and they're willing to pay whatever, you can take advantage of people that way if you want, but I think it's a bad idea. 2, if we're business partners and we have to split a nickel, I want to give you 3 cents every time. Rule 3 is you never know if the toe you step on today is going to be connected to the ass you have to kiss tomorrow. And that one, buddy, let me tell you, that's solid advice.
Yeah.
And one that I've given a lot of other people, Mark Jenny, I don't know if you know Mark Jenny or not. He just did a interview with Noah Kagan, and I was sitting in a bathtub at home, and I'm listening, and I realize it's him. He says, one night, my friend Perry Belcher gave me the best advice. I'm like, who is that? And Mark's worth a great deal of money now. I'm sure excess of $100 million. But an old guy told me one time, he said, when you decide what you really want to do with your life, go see how many old, happy, rich people you can find that did that. And if you can't find very many, you probably ought to do something else.
Yeah.
And the last one is you can't put the shit back in the horse. So be sure whatever it is that you do, or the way you treat people, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yeah.
Just if I can be in somebody's presence and make really good eye contact with them, and really if it's for 30 seconds, I want to know that I'm clear with them for that 30 seconds, right? And that I knew they were there and I was in their presence and we worked it out. And those are kind of the 5 that, as silly and basic as those sound, those are kind of the things that drive me overall. And then just really now it's trying to find the very best partners to work with and seeing how many other people I can make wealthy.
Yeah.
Or help to make wealthy.
I had a guy teach me probably 10 years ago. He said, Brad, as you hit 40 and 50, you want to invest in 20-year-olds.
Exactly.
And the more 20-year-olds, because when you're 70, they're in their 50s and they're crushing life and they're paying for your life.
And you got all this knowledge and wisdom and got beat up 9,000 ways to get there.
Oh, yeah.
But your energy level's crap. You get to be my age, and your energy level certainly depletes, but your wisdom is at an all-time high. So now you got to find energy to pour that wisdom into.
So let's go back to those young people. What are the things that will make them successful? Like, what are the traits or what are the skills that they should know so that they can generate success?
Humility.
Take me more on that.
Above and beyond everything else. I think that really the people that are difficult for me right now, there's a sense of kind of a bit of a sense of entitlement.
Oh yeah.
And I already know all that, and just give me the money and get out of my way, old man. I got this kind of thing. And that doesn't work with me, right? I think if I respect their hard work, but they have to respect my wisdom. You know, I think that humility, curiosity,
gotta want to learn.
If they don't read, if they can't tell me the last 5 books they read that impressed them and what impressed them about that book, I'm out.
Not investing.
I'm out. And you're not for me.
So if you look at success, what do you see as the relationship between failure and success?
I don't think you learn anything from success. I think you learn mostly from your mistakes. However, I do have a feeling that people operate, you know what a Bollinger Band is? Yeah. So I think people operate on like human Bollinger Bands. A Bollinger Band in the stock market means that the stock price is here, and this is the high, and this is the low, and stocks usually go like this.
Yeah.
And people do the same thing, right? So I think that when they, like if a lottery winner wins a lottery and they stretch the band really high, just like a stock, they usually come down really, really fast. If a billionaire loses all of his money, right, or her money, they usually come back up to wealth really, really fast. The bands are, in my opinion, like rubber bands. I think the thing about experience is once you have accomplished a certain thing, your limiting beliefs of that thing are much less captive of you.
Yeah.
I think people who haven't achieved $1 million business can't really conceive of it, or $100 million business, or a $1 billion business. I can't conceive of $1 billion business. Frankly, I can't. I would love to be able to, but I can't conceive of it because I haven't done it. That's the challenge of this whole, that's the challenge of everything. How do you trick your mind? How do you get your mind to stretch those bands without stretching them too fast so that the band pulls you back down? Because you're always going to come back to the mean, right? If the mean is growing like this, that's fine. And you're going to grow in waves, right? And that's the way that it is. But I think that when you do it a little more slowly, everybody wants to do it really fast, but when you do it a little more slowly, I think you stretch those bands out and they're a bit weakened. And when you fail a lot, guess what? It doesn't hurt so bad to try, right? There's so much.
The band has to have a bottom and then it has a top again.
It's got to have it. And you're not afraid to try again. Yeah.
You're on the Big Success Podcast. We're going to be back in a moment, and we're going to talk about marketing with the Perry Belcher.
Business empires are where most people create the vast majority of their initial income and wealth. Through Brad Sugars' Entrepreneurs event, you will learn how to turn your companies into valuable and sellable assets. Visit bradsugars.com to attend this program as a standalone or as part of Brad Sugars' Entrepreneurial University.
Big Success Podcast. Hopefully you've hit that subscribe button. Perry, marketing. How is it shifting now with the influence of AI and technology and all these things?
Yeah, we were talking about AI before this, what we're doing with autonomous bots and things like that. I think people misconceive of AI, right? It's a tool.
Yeah.
It's no different than a shovel or a paintbrush.
Yeah.
Just because you have a paintbrush doesn't make you an artist. Because you have a hammer doesn't make you a home builder, right? So it's just a tool to leverage our human ability. Right. I think if you ever heard the Steve Jobs quote about the condor, do you know about that?
No.
So the condor is the most efficient animal in the world. Kilocalories put out for result. It's the most efficient. It can fly. It can walk. It can eat almost anything. It's fast. It's furious. It's all those things. Humans are about 19 on that stack of most efficient animals. But if you give a human a bicycle, they by far are the most efficient animal in the world. So when your technology just makes us more and more efficient, people are afraid of AI. But truthfully, if you understand human behavior really, really, really well, like I do, I'm lucky that way. I've been studying that forever and ever. I understand copy. I understand motivation. I understand persuasion. I understand human behavior. If you understand human behavior really well, and now you can leverage that knowledge with AI, it's game changing. It's world changing, because for the first time ever, you can have an army of 10,000 robots ready to work for you that cost you 10 cents a day a piece, that can specialize in almost anything. And the technology now is tying those experts together in teams where they literally interact just like humans do. And the more specialized the robot, the better they become at a task, which is really weird to talk about it. But the thing is, they still can't build a big picture, right? They can't build a big picture system. They can't figure out the motivation of a human to do one thing over another, because oftentimes these bots are incredibly logical, right? And as you well know, human behavior is not. It's, in most cases, in fact, it's counterintuitive. So if you can take a really good knowledge of human behavior, marketing, I'd study, if I were them, I'd study copywriting. I'd study Alchemy by Rory Sutherland, one of the best books I've ever read in my life. And just really understand what makes the human tick, and then learn AI, which, believe it or not, it's becoming increasingly easy to learn how to manipulate and work in that world. But most people don't have this human nature piece. That's the part they're missing.
So let's focus in on that just for a little bit, because really marketing is about getting humans to do something, getting them to take action in some way, shape, or form. How is marketing still the same right now?
Boy, howdy, I don't think it is very much at all from what it was literally 10 years ago. Because we've been berated with it so much in our daily lives.
Got it.
We used to see commercials. I think I read somewhere we used to watch 13 minutes of commercials a day.
Right.
And today you're probably up to an hour and a half of pitches a day.
Yeah.
So you've been so berated. I don't know if you've read Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley.
Yeah.
Fantastic book. But he talks a lot about creating demand where, anytime the market supply and demand are in equilibrium, there's no profit to be made. Not really. But when there's a big desire for a thing and a short supply of it, that's where marketing is today. And I think people are they want to discover you and seek you out versus you seeking them out in a way. It's very odd how it's working right now. But we
tell me more about that, because I think that's an important aspect for people to understand.
Yeah. Well, it's like, kids right now, and it's kids. Anybody's a kid to me now. I'm old, right? But kids right now, the more commercialized the musical artists, the more they hate them.
Yeah.
Right. But when they hate Taylor Swift, or they hate now Taylor's still doing fine, right? You don't get me wrong, but I'm still I'm waiting for a call, baby, but she's not calling. It's weird. But they're more interested in going out and finding some indie band they can share with their friends because they discovered that.
Yeah.
So I think if your wife goes to the mall, what she come back and say? Look at what I bought, or look at what I found at the mall. So discovery, they're on a mission of self-discovery. So make yourself available, keep yourself top of mind, and give value. I follow this principle called the 7-11-4 principle. I don't know if you ever heard of that or not.
Zmont from Google, yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Take us through it.
Yeah, so if you can get somebody to spend 7 hours with you in any way, right, or 11 interactions by text message, phone, or whatever, and 4 locations, right, basically see my YouTube channel, see my Instagram, whatever. You know where that really came from? Dating. If you realize a lot of ladies got, I always say women have to have a reason to have sex, and men just need a place, but if a lot of ladies, they'll have the 3-date rule. They're not going to sleep with a guy or make out with a guy, be intimate with a guy, whatever your level of intimacy is, until they've had 3 dates. Well, what is that? It's usually about 7 hours. It's usually about 11 interactions, and it's usually you're going to go to 4 different places. And once that happens, that doesn't mean they're going to sleep with you. It means they're going to be able to make a clear determination.
Yeah.
So they're either into you or they're not. Until that, they can't make a clear determination. And for me, marketing, the number one biggest sin of marketing is getting out of sequence. If there is a sequence to building a relationship, right, in marketing with anyone, and if you can accelerate that sequence, but you can't leapfrog it.
Tell me more about that.
You can't skip steps, right? It's just like the dating thing, right? So you see somebody out and they think you're attracted. You get a smile, you get a look. That's one. That's a eye-to-eye interaction. And then next, it's you introduce yourself, and maybe now you got a conversational element. Then maybe you shake hands or you exchange contact information. Sound familiar, right? Yeah. Give me your email address. I'll just subscribe to the podcast.
The Instagram handle,
right? Yeah, it's my Instagram or whatever. And then until she blocks you, and 30 minutes later, no, I'm joking.
I don't have that experience
happens
as
to
much
me
as you
all
do,
the
Perry.
time. All the time. It's weird. And then you go out to a low risk date.
Yep.
I call that a tripwire, right? In the marketing space, I want them to make a very small for buy your book.
Raise your hand.
Yeah, raise your hand. So I like them to raise their hand with their wallet in it. Yeah. They buy a little bit of something. I found that a lead that spent $10 is worth 20 times more than a lead who spent $0. But then the next thing, maybe you're going to dinner and then you're meeting the parents and so all those things have to happen in a marketing journey. And the problem with most marketers is that they want to have sex on the first date.
Yeah. They want to meet the parents before they've had the first date.
They're rushing it. And you can accelerate those things just like you could accelerate a dating relationship. You could see each other every day for a week and probably achieve that should you have the time, and both people have the time to do it and the ability to do it. And you could probably achieve that level of intimacy in, let's say, a week, right? Or it could take months longer. And
I use a lot of webinars and videos to accelerate the buyer's interaction and knowledge of me and of our companies. What else do you find works really well today?
Live events.
Right.
Live events. You're seeing them come back more and more and more to live events. As you know, I host tons of live events. There's just no way to beat it. I mean, if you think about it, if you ever come to one of my live, I know you spoke at one of our mastermind events not long ago. If you come to one of our live events, you're going to spend about 20 hours with me.
Right.
Before the event, we're going to be sending you homework and celebritization stuff. And during the event, you're going to be getting text messages and things like that. And we're going to bring you up on stage and we're going to interact and we're going to have mixers and we're going to shake hands. And the first night, we're going to go to the pub over here for a pre-cocktail mixer. The second night, we're going to have lunch and breakfast, and we're going to have another mixer thing, and then we're going to have a VIP dinner, and then we're going to go out on a snowmobile adventure or whatever. So they're going to, in that one short period of time, you're going to fulfill the entire 7-Eleven in a very short period of time at a live event. And that's the reason at a live event, it's really easy to sell $20, $30, $40, $50,000 things, which people will not give you their money until they first give you their time. That's a fact. So if you want to sell a 1995 salad shooter on TV, you can do that in a 60-second or a 2-minute short-form commercial. If you want to sell a $300 treadmill, it's going to take you a 30-minute infomercial. It's just the way things are. And if you understand the psychology behind it, the brain enters something called a temporary suspension of belief. And the only time that a person's beliefs can be changed is during kind of that hypnotic time period. It's very cool if you really understand the mechanics of it. And once you do understand those mechanics, you do any damn thing you want in life. You can get it. It's unfortunate for me, but I can get anybody to do damn near anything. That's within their interest to do. I can't tell you to go jump off a bridge or something, but it's fairly easy to get people to do something that's in their best interest in an accelerated way once you understand those principles. But it's not hard. It's just you got to be a little bit patient. And I think today's marketers, if they need anything in the world, it's patience. And hyperbolic copy and things like that, people's bullshit meters just go crazy instantly now because they've heard it all 1,000 times. You're better off to say, hey, you'll never make money doing this. What's this? Now I got you, right? So you'll never make money. It's impossible to make money doing this. I sent that email out not long ago, get a huge response.
Yeah.
Right? So you just go counter. If you look at stuff like one of my favorite companies, I think they've done a great job, is Beachbody.
Yep.
And their Insanity and P90X. Insanity was, you're going to work out so hard, it's going to make you puke. When everybody else was saying, just take this pill and you'll lose 30 pounds in 30 days.
8 minutes a day,
right.
You can...
They go the opposite of that, right? They go the opposite of that, counter that. So it turns the whole proposition on its head Because now you're not doubting. You have zero doubt after watching an insanity commercial that insanity works.
Yeah.
Now the onus is on you. Are you
willing to work?
Are you willing to work? So if you flip that offer, I think more BizOp offers need to be like that. If people have business opportunity offers, is, hey, this is going to be a nightmare for you. For a year, you're going to bust your ass, and you're probably going to make less money than you're making right now, and it's going to suck, and you're going to suck your thumb when you go home at night. But if you'll stick with it for a year or two, you can build a multi-generational business.
You're on the Big Success Podcast. Perry's going to take us through how to scale your marketing and scale your business when we come back.
Perry Belcher walks the line between authority and accessibility like few others can. He's practically a Jedi, specializing in the digital sales side of the Force. He's also a best-selling author with dozens of titles under his belt. To learn more about Perry Belcher, please visit perrybelcher.com.
And we're back. Perry, scaling marketing. Let's start there before we get to scaling a business, because you can't scale a business if you can't scale customer acquisition and retention. What are the secrets or keys to scaling marketing today?
I think it's the easiest part, weirdly enough, because it's a zero-sum game, right? Either you have an offer that works or you have an offer that doesn't, right? So, and what I see the biggest mistake people make from a scale perspective is when they figured out how to offer their product to the marketplace, right? If it doesn't work, they're really good at cutting back. They're really good at cutting out campaigns that don't work. They're really good at scaling back campaigns that don't work. The truth is, you never scale back a campaign that doesn't work. You kill it because it either works or it doesn't. What they really suck at is scaling the winners. We had a company. I just bought part of a company, a drone school, and great business, by the way, super fun. They teach commercial drone pilots how to make money with drones. Great business, but they came in for their 3 days. So I do a 3-day thing every time I invest in a business. They come to my house for 3 days and we just eat it up 12 hours a day for 3 days, and they leave with their year-long plan, right? But when we got into the thing, they had 2 funnels that were returning almost a 400% ROI, but they didn't know their math. So they're coming to me like, we want you to come in and help us because we don't know how to scale. And I'm like, dude, every time you drop a quarter in this slot machine, Vegas reference, $1 falls out. Drop in more freaking quarters. Yeah. I mean, that was the whole thing, right? But you got to search around you got to search a lot and test a lot to get that winning offer. And people really discount it when they get one. They really discount it. They take it for granted. And like your X times Y talk, once you figured out how to do that once, for the janitorial business or for the garage floor business or for the pool, but it's fairly easy to translate that and do it again and again and again and again and go to different cities and different locations and different verticals, right? Once you've done that and you've cracked that code, you should go out and murder. But what happens, then that limiting belief creeps in, right? And you're nervous. I ask them, why don't you spend more money on this? I don't know, our budget's been $50,000 a month for a really long time and we just feel uncomfortable when we get past that. But they're doing $50,000 a month, bringing in 200. Yeah. And I'm like, how big is the universe? Well, the universe is huge.
And how many can you handle?
They could be spending $500,000 a month, bringing in $2 million. Math is math, right? Quarters in, dollars out, right? So I think when you go to scale a direct marketing offer anyway, that's certainly one way to do it. But I like really low dollar lead acquisition, as you know. I like selling something very inexpensive, a ridiculous offer, so I turn somebody into a client. Because the minute someone spends $1 with you, the relationship completely changes. They're no longer a prospect, they're a client. And now instead of making sales pitches, you can make recommendations. And as long as you don't make bad recommendations that hurt them, the thing is, this overwhelm of advertising is creating a vacuum for trusted influencers, because you're hit with, if you're into, I'm baking bread now, right? So I get 9,000 ads a day
on bread.
about bread a day, right? I don't know which one to pick. I won't pick, so I don't pick any of them. But once I fall into like one person I like and they say, oh, well, the best Dutch oven is this one, I'm like, I'm buying that. Or like if you look at the guy, Andrew Uberman, the podcaster that does help, fantastic, right? He's selling millions and millions of dollars a month worth of supplements because he's a science-based, trusted nutritional guy who never says this is the greatest thing ever. He says, I looked at these. This is the one I would use if it were me. But I'm not endorsing this company, but that's the one I would use. This is the one I take. You do what you want to do. And it's never like, let me tell you about this fantastic offer I've got for you. Never. And he's doing millions, and all these other guys are out hyping the hell out of what they're doing nothing. Right? So people have to be drawn in now. They have to be drawn into your world. We love newsletters. We love daily, weekly, bi-weekly newsletters as a way just to nurture, right? We love YouTube. We're giving away tons of our stuff now for free on YouTube. We love, you date on Instagram, you get married on YouTube. People really will digest. I like being on podcasts like this one because it gives people the opportunity to understand
me and learn from you and
understand me a little better. And, there'll be one person on here maybe that says, I'd like to know a little bit more about that dude. And maybe, and that's cool. And you just got to be doing a lot of it kind of all the time. And it's a pain in the ass because I don't want to drive across. I love hanging out with you, but I don't want to drive across town and do this morning. I said, I got other stuff to do, But you gotta say, I'm going to allot so much time to that.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's going to be very hard for you to continue to be successful.
It's like, the movie actors, what was the last movie you did is the thing. And the same with podcasts, the same with content. You've got to keep producing. You never know which one will hit and which one won't. I want to go back to the X times Y conversation.
Yeah, that hit me like a brick.
Yeah.
I went back home.
Let me just explain this for everyone. To build $1 billion company, you've got to do X times Y. X is how many million your location does. So I have a current business. It's a restaurant location. It'll do catering and restaurant, and we brew beer. It'll do $8 million a year in that location. So it's 8 million. How many of those do I need in how many cities to do $1 billion? X times Y. If I've got a $2 million, I got to do 500 locations. If I got a 10 million, I got to do 100 locations.
And it's transferable to online.
Any business.
Like we're doing newsletters now, right? So we publish 19 newsletters a day. I'm launching a new newsletter every week right now for a different vertical.
With AI.
Yeah, because we figured out how to monetize a newsletter. And that newsletter might make $3,000, $4,000 a week when it starts. Maybe in a couple of months, it's making $10,000 a week, right? And I got 19 of them now, right? And I continue adding more and more and more. Because the business, what I think people get hung up on that really messes them up, the business is not the business in most cases. The business is the model. If you've got a model that works, if you've proven a model to work, like X times Y for online I do natural pesticides, right? Which is a weird business to do online. Boring. I love boring businesses. But I do natural pesticides, pet safe, kid-friendly pesticides, right? Or kid-safe pesticide. So if I've got one pesticide that's Perry's bug killer, I got one vertical. But people don't buy that way. People buy very, very narrowly. So if I've got spider killer, roach killer, slug killer, mice, whatever, I can take that one product, put 40 labels on it, and do 20 or 30 times the sales. Because I've figured out how to make this one sell. I figured out how to make the bed bug one sell. We got all the conversion elements, the copy's right, the packaging's right, that one's selling. Now it's very easy to go, let's apply those things and all these tests that we've learned from split testing to the roach killer. And I'll tell you one quick story to wrap this point up on the narrowness. One of my business partners is software business, Chad Nicely, calls his girlfriend calls him at work. She's like, you got to come home right now. You got to come home right now. There's a brown recluse spider in the house. There's got to be a brown recluse spider nest here. And I'd been talking about this principle to him for a long time. And so he says, okay, we'll get home tonight. We'll go to Home Depot. We'll get some stuff. We'll take care of it. So they go to Home Depot. She's trying to kill this. She wants to kill this spider nest. They got all these spider killers at Home Depot. She absolutely refused to buy any of them. The average price was about $20. She refused to buy any of them. She went home, found a brown recluse spider killer online for $90 and bought it. And when it came in, guess what the active ingredient was? The same one that was in
Exact same.
all the other spider killers. But people buy, if I could teach anybody anything, people buy for their immediate need.
Yeah.
Even your coaching business, if they've got a bad day today and they can't figure out how to motivate their employees and they're throwing their hands up and you hit them right then with, hey, would you like to be a more effective leader, learn how to lead teams, those things. That's the reason that constant contact and top of mind is so important, because it doesn't mean that today, the fact that I didn't buy your thing today doesn't mean I don't want your thing and that I won't buy it in the future.
Yeah.
It's just not the priority in my life today. Today, maybe I dropped an anvil on my toe and I got to go to the toe doctor, and I don't have time to listen about I'm not as interested in what you're selling.
Well, they say about 8% of people are ready to buy at the moment of finding you.
Yeah.
That means 92%, or let's say it's 80-20, right?
Right.
That means 80% of people who find you aren't ready to buy. I want to go back to the model.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't think people truly understand the genius of what you just said there. It's not about that product.
It's never, in my opinion,
John did it too. Like, he worked out how to sell clothing, and then he kept creating new clothing lines. Right. And away you go.
Once you've learned to do a thing.
I do it with franchising.
Right.
I know franchising, so I build a franchise, I go and build another franchise, and then I build another. And one just happens to be in commercial cleaning, one happens to be in managing properties, but it's the same thing. How did you discover it's about the model and then using the model 20, 50, 100 times? Where did that come from?
That's a good and a bad story. So I discovered it on a drive.
Right.
Listening to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. I'd been listening to it. I didn't get it, And I was on a drive. And at the time, I had a supplement business. I had a big business called craftstore.com. Mm-hmm. Craftstore.com was doing $10 million a year and making no money. It was making me crazy. I had this little bitty supplement brand that I'd started with a friend of mine. And every week I'd go by and pick up a check from him for like $2,500 for my half of that business. And that's what I was feeding my family on while I was working my butt off over here. I did that for about 6 months. And I'm driving, I'm frustrated. I can't figure out, everybody else making a lot of money online. I'm not. This was a long time ago. This is when it was actually pretty easy. And I said, what if I did another one of those?
Another supplement business.
Yeah. And what if I did another one of those? And then by the time I got home from this 2-hour drive, I had a list of 24 products written down. And we started just mass producing these one-page, very narrow, here's your pain point, here's the solution to your pain point thing. And I did $36 million that year. From $36 million, from $2,500 a week net to 36 million gross, making, I don't know, it was $4 or $5 million out of that. Then I almost went to jail in the supplement business because I sold. I didn't have any business being in a regulated business because I'm not that kind of guy. So I got a lot of trouble, and
And now you got out of it.
I got out of that 20 years ago.
So, thinking about success overall, okay, because we could spend forever on business stuff.
Sure.
People can look you up, and if they're on my podcast, they should know me. Or if you're brand new to it, look us up. Best quote or best advice anyone ever gave you on success, other than your 5 comments that you made earlier. What's the number one successful piece of advice you can give us today?
Oh my gosh. I think I gave it earlier with the, find as many people that did that. But I don't know. It's hard. It's always really hard to narrow it down, isn't it?
One of the challenges is that there isn't just one thing.
Yeah.
And that's why I do this podcast every week with different guests, because different guests have different one things.
Yeah. Oh, I can tell you one that I didn't talk about. So a couple of years ago, I was having a tough time. I didn't pivot well in COVID.
Yeah. I
lost $1 million the first year of COVID, and it freaked me out. It's the first money-losing year I've had in 15, 16 years. I lost $1 million trying to, I didn't try to pivot. I was just frozen.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything because I didn't know which way the wind was going to blow. Mm. And I called a friend of mine, John Asseroff, if you know John.
I know John.
Great guy. And I said, John, I'm screwed in my head. What am I doing? And he said, what do you want? And I think so many people have a hard time, if they're honest, defining that. And I did. I said, I don't know. I said, one of my problems is I have enough money. I don't have that hunger motivation I used to have. And I don't know what I want. And he gave me the greatest exercise ever. He said, take a piece of paper or a pad if you need it, and one line at a time, write down everything you don't want. And the answers will reveal themselves to you. And they indeed did. I mean, when you started subtracting, everybody tries to come up with I want a Ferrari and I want a 10,000 foot house and I want a, whatever. People have those things, but they're not goals, in my opinion. They typically don't have, if you can't back that out and tell me how many X times Y's that's going to take or whatever, how many new customers are you going to have to get? How much money are they going to have to spend? How often are they going to have to come back? People have these dreams, but with no metrics and no math, and I've always said, to be successful in this business, you need to do two things, emotions and mathematics. And if you got that, you can do just about anything. But I think that's the, if you can't get crystal on what you want, it's going to be very hard for you to get there. So one of the easiest ways to get crystal is just by subtract out everything you don't want. And do that exercise and watch what happens to your head, because you'll do that in one day. And that night when you go to bed, if you don't have your answer before bed, you'll have it by morning.
Yeah.
And then you got clarity. And once you get clarity on what it is you want, it kind of just comes. I hate to say that. I'm not a manifestation woo-woo-y, me. That's the worst.
John definitely is.
I'm a million miles from that.
Yeah.
But I'm not woo-woo-y at all. But man, did that ever clear my head.
Yeah.
I knew what I didn't want. And the next day, I woke up and I started chopping things.
Perfect.
I just started chopping things out of my life so that I could put time toward, if it didn't have an end result that went into my bucket of what I wanted, I eliminated it immediately. And it's almost like having a bad employee. Just fire them and leave an empty seat is better than letting them stay around till you find somebody else. And I think that the same math applies.
Big success. That's what we're here for. We'll be back with you next week. Make sure you hit subscribe and that bell so you get the notification.
You've been listening to the Big Success Podcast with the #1 business coach in the world, Brad Sugars. To learn more about how to achieve business and personal success, as well as how to level up or listen to past episodes, visit www.bradsugars.com.